little ditty. ChatGPT helped me do that, and today on Exploring Limitations, I'm gonna show you how it was done. Here we go. What does ChatGPT know about analog recording? Well, I don't know, you gotta ask it. Today I'm gonna walk you through the process of interacting with ChatGPT and creating a 4-track little funk diddly. Obviously, ChatGPT and OpenAI and AI in general has been a big topic lately. In its current state, I view it as a potential creative tool that you can use. What prompted this whole thing initially, I was just curious. I was on ChatGPT and I typed in, help me record a song with a cassette Portastudio. And this actually is a somewhat thorough answer. I'll let you know where it's not thorough, but let's read through this and I'll talk about it. Certainly, recording with a cassette Portastudio can be a fun and nostalgic experience. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you record a song using the cassette Portastudio.
Number 1, set up your equipment. Ensure that your cassette Portastudio is in good working condition and has enough blank tapes.
It just got back from repair. If you haven't watched that video, please check this out.
Make sure you have a good quality microphone and any other instruments or audio sources you plan to use.
Oh, look it, I'm in a studio. I have plenty of things to record, like this bass.
Number 2, connect your microphone. Plug in your microphone into one of the input channels on the Portastudio. If you have multiple microphones or instruments, use the appropriate inputs for each.
Well, today we're not using microphones, we're just going direct on everything, but it's the same concept.
3, adjust levels. Set input levels for each channel. The Portastudio usually has knobs or sliders to control the input gain. Start with low levels and gradually increase them until you get a good balanced signal without distortion.
There's so much to unwrap in that, but basically Portastudios, the faders have to be set to a sweet spot, and it's true that you don't want to generally go into the red on the VU meter, but on certain instruments it's cool. On certain instruments the clipping is nice, and that's kind of how we use Portastudios today, to get that gritty quality to them.
Number 4, set up monitoring. Connect headphones or speakers to the Portastudio's headphone or line output. This allows you to listen to the playback and monitor your recording. Number 5, choose a track. Decide which track you want to record on. Portastudios usually have multiple tracks and you can choose an empty one or record over an existing one. Make sure you're not accidentally erasing any important recordings.
That's very true. We're gonna show you that process in a second.
Number 6, arm the track for recording. Press the record button for the selected track and make sure the input signal is reaching the tape by monitoring the level meters. Adjust the input gain as needed. 7, start recording. When you're ready, press the play and record buttons simultaneously to start recording. Begin performing your song or playing your instrument. You can record multiple takes on the same track if needed. Number 8, monitor your recording. While recording, keep an eye on the level meters to ensure that your signal is not clipping, going into the red zone. If it clips, reduce the input gain to avoid distortion. Number 9, overdubbing. If you want to add additional tracks or overdub parts, repeat steps 5 to 8 on a different track. This allows you to layer multiple instruments or vocals.
There's more about mixing down and mastering your track. But now, here's where I ask, can you suggest what I put on track 1? Honestly, the suggestions here aren't terrible. Like, here's number 1.
Rhythm guitar. Record a rhythmic strumming pattern or chords that form the foundation of your song. This will provide a solid backbone for the other instruments or vocals.
This is very common in the recording world. If you have a strong rhythm guitar, you can play drums to it and add things to that. That's not a bad technique. Number 2.
Drums. If you have a drum machine or access to a drum kit, you can record a drum track on track 1. Program or play a simple beat that complements the tempo and style of your song.
ChatGPT goes on to suggest other things, but we're just gonna go with drums. So now I ask ChatGPT, can you give me a style and tempo of drum machine to put on track 1?
Funk at 110 BPM.
I don't know if it already knows who I am, but the fact that it said that is like hilarious. Since I'm a musician with more knowledge than the AI has of music creation, we're gonna come up with a drum beat over here on the drum machine, and let's record track 1. I'm going to record a funk beat at 110, and here we go. Let me listen back to the drums. Now let me ask, I recorded drum machine. What should I put on track 2? ChatGPT says,
Here are a few suggestions for what you can put on track 2. Number 1 suggestion.
bass guitar. And guess what? I'm a bass player, and this is how I normally record. Or suggestions too, lead guitar, keyboard, piano, synth. All of these suggestions are pretty decent. Suggestion number 6, backing vocals. That's not normally something that you would jump straight into unless you already have a really serious idea fleshed out. We're gonna go with bass guitar. So now I ask, the drum machine is great. Can you suggest a key and a mode for the funky bass line on track 2? here's the response.
Key of D, mode D Dorian.
I mean, check this out. D Dorian is a commonly used mode in funk music that creates a groovy and soulful vibe. It's based on the D major scale, but with a minor third instead of a major third. The D Dorian scale consists of the following notes: D, E, F, A, B, C. It's partially correct. It's very true that a lot of funk music uses Dorian, a lot of jazz uses Dorian. It's hilarious that it's like a major scale, but with a minor third, because that's not correct, because the 7th is not like in the major scale. The 7th is also flat. It fails to point that out, but it does give you the correct notes, so that's good. Here's a simple, funky bass line D Dorian you can try.
Start with the root note. Play the D as the foundation of your bass line. This provides strong and stable anchor for the groove.
Yes, this is correct, and there are fun ways of getting to the root, though.
Add rhythmic variations, incorporate rhythms, syncopation, ghost notes, and slides to create a funky feel.
Sliding is a fun suggestion. Maybe I'll do something slidey.
Experiment with different note durations and articulations to add groove and personality to your bass line.
That's absolutely true. Just note length alone can be something pretty wild, like this. Like, say we're just doing root notes. And then short. Yeah, changing the note length on the same 3 notes drastically affects the sound of the bass line.
Sync with the drum machine. Pay attention to the interaction between the bass line and the drum machine pattern. Lock in with the kick and snare hits to create a tight and cohesive rhythmic foundation.
This is something that is often said, and it is often true. You should definitely pay attention to the bass line. To the kick drum. Here's something I also love to do, is go with your gut first. Just listen to the drums and vibe out how they make you feel, and then you can always edit your bass line afterwards if it needs it. Interplay between the bass and the kick drum can be a really cool thing. Anyway, with all of that in mind, I'm just gonna record a bass line here on track 2. Thanks, ChatGPT. All right, I've got this D Dorian bass riff happening, but there's a second section that I recorded with the drums, a B section. All good funk music has a B section. Take her to the bridge. Let's ask ChatGPT what to do next. The D Dorian bass riff is great. Can you help me come up with the B section? This is funny.
Of course. Let's work on creating a B section for your song. Here's a suggestion for the B section that can provide contrast and new musical direction. Change the chord progression.
Very good suggestion. In the B section, introduce a new chord progression that contrasts with the chord progression used in the A section. Try switching to a minor chord. Well, we're kind of hanging on D Dorian, so I don't know what that means. Or different sets of chords that add fresh flavor to the music. For example, you can use chords like B minor 7, E minor 7, A minor 7, or G major 7 to create a new harmonic landscape. Out of all of those ideas, the G major 7 intrigues me the most because that drastically alters the key, the harmonic context in which we are in. And that is an interesting direction that I wouldn't necessarily have taken. So let's try to come up with a B section in G major. Let me record that bass line now. Thanks for the inspiration, ChatGPT. What's next? Track 3. I assume I gotta do probably some guitar, right? Okay, the funky D. Dorian bass line is great. Can you suggest a funky guitar part?
Number 1, chords, rhythmic strumming, chord stabs and accents, funky riffs.
Since I'm more of a bass player than a guitar player, I tend to lean towards co-writing riffs along with the bass riff.
Wah-wah and funky effects. And call and response. Explore call and response patterns between the guitar and bass line. Play off each other's rhythm and melodies.
I actually really like that. So I'm gonna pick up a guitar and come up with something that complements the bass line. All right, we have a little bit of a funky rhythm track going of drum machine, bass, and rhythm guitar. Tracks 1 through 3 are funky and great. Can you give me a suggestion for a melody or texture idea?
Certainly. Here's a suggestion for a melody or texture idea that can complement the funky tracks you have.
Number 1, it says a horn section melody. I don't have any horns, so let's skip that. A vocal hook or chorus, that would be good too, but I'm not gonna subject you guys to my singing. So I'm feeling either number 3 or number 4, the guitar or keyboard riff or an ambient texture. Should I pull out the synth for this or should I keep this on the guitar? So I'm gonna do a melodic idea. So let me ask ChatGPT about that. Can you suggest a more specific melodic idea?
Certainly. Here's something that you can try out. Let's focus on a catchy, upbeat guitar riff that complements existing funky tracks. Here's a suggestion. Let's stick with the key of D. Dorian.
And then number 2, this is very funny when I saw this.
Create a funky guitar riff that combines single notes and double stops, playing 2 notes simultaneously. Aim for a rhythmic, syncopated feel. Here's an example.
Let's try that idea real quick. I don't love it. I don't love the note choices. They're a little too bland. This is close, but can we steer away from the root note? And then it comes up with this. This tab is hilarious. ChatGPT clearly knows something about tab, but it says, let's stick with D. Dorian, and then it proceeds to give you these notes here. It's giving you D major, which is very incorrect. It's not D Dorian. But if you read the text, it's got that tab, but then it says, in this riff, we start on the 4th degree G and move chromatically down to the 2nd degree E. That doesn't match what's written there. But that idea of a chromatic starting from the G, which would be the 11th, going down to the 9th, and then resolving, I think there's probably something there. So let's experiment with that melodic idea. That little nugget that ChatGPT gave us, just in text alone, is gonna be worth trying to explore. So let's try it out. I'm feeling the synth on this, so let's explore that. We've got a patch going through a filter, an external filter. It's got a vibe. That melodic idea came out interesting, and now we have full 4 tracks. Let's see what we do now in the process. ChatGPT says,
Mixing and post-production. After you finish recording all the desired tracks, you can adjust levels and panning to each track, create a balanced mix. Use the Portastudio's controls to make these adjustments.
That is so incredibly vague. If you're unfamiliar with analog mixing, just please watch my channel. I have plenty of content on it. For today, since most of the cool sounds are kind of baked into the part, I've set up something I haven't actually tried yet, which is to take the light pedal, which is one of my favorite reverbs, and to stereoize it possibly create a little ambience with certain instruments. So let's just go ahead and hear how some of the instruments sound with this. Let's hear this now. Now let's hear that keyboard. Cool, I think I came up with an arrangement and we're gonna execute it now. I'm gonna keep the bass, the drums, and the guitar dry, but during the B section, I'm gonna add the guitar into the reverb in addition to where the keyboard is all the time. So here we go, let's just mix this down. Thanks, ChatGPT. There you have it, ChatGPT as a writing partner. I asked ChatGPT, can you explain the limits of AI in helping write a song?
AI lacks true creativity and originality. It is trained on existing data and can generate output based on patterns and information it has learned. However, it does not possess genuine emotions or the ability to generate completely novel ideas that humans can bring to the creative process.
This is very, very important. Just quickly, the other reasons it gives is context and intent. It doesn't have those. Emotional depth, AI doesn't have that. Subjectivity and taste. And then the fifth, and probably to me most important reason that I would give, that AI gives itself,
collaboration and connection.
Songwriting often involves collaboration and a deep sense of connection between musicians. AI lacks the ability to connect on a personal and emotional level, limiting its capacity to collaborate, bounce ideas, and truly understand the dynamics of a creative partnership. This sums it up big time. As you could see throughout the process of today, I was just taking little snippets of ideas that it was tossing at me. I was the one adding all the experience, the emotion, the depth, the insight, the context, and all of that. AI was obviously completely lacking in any of that. However, wherever you fall on the spectrum of, oh my God, AI's taking over the world and we're all gonna die, or AI's here to help us and save us, we're not asking that question today. AI is a tool, and it is here, like it or not. Let me know your thoughts about this today. It's hilarious that it suggested funk at 110 BPM. If it didn't suggest that, then I probably would have square pegged a round hole, because that's basically what I do on this channel. I can hear my brain going a million miles an hour and it's not making sense, so I'm gonna say I hope that you had a great time today. If you like what you see, do all those YouTube things. Check out the links in the description below. I would really appreciate it if you join me over on patreon.com/madeontape. My original music is down there as well. Whatever you're doing with your day and with your week and with your time, I hope you're having fun, being creative, and using the tools around you to help you do that. With that, as always, is peace, and be good to each other. Ciao.